This is Gary then, pre-Grimsby. Gary, you've been in the job a year and a day. How far do you feel it's sort of close to job done at the moment?
Well, I suppose at the start of the season, when we were changing the squad and everything was new and all new players coming in, I think we'd have given our right arm to be in this position, because it's a great position to be at the top of the league with 5 games to go. We've only really one other team, probably, maybe 2, but probably 1, that's really chasing you. And so we got to be really pleased with what we've done over the season. Of course, I just looked at some stats today. I don't normally do that actually, but we're sort of top of every league: goals for, goals against, and home wins and away wins, all that sort of stuff. But the only one we're not top of at the moment is the current form, and that's really the thing we've got to address at this moment in time. So I've been really pleased with the year. Hopefully the club has been pleased as well. Supporters have grown gradually, and as far as in numbers is concerned, they've given us good support recently, through thick and thin as well. You know, when we haven't played well, they were still supporting us periods of the game. So now's the time for everyone to stand up and be counted, including new people, and really, get behind the commitment to get up back to the Football League.
And you mentioned that form guide there. I mean, actually, yourselves, Forest Green and Grimsby, I think you've all taken 17 points from your last 10 games. So no one's in great form at the top of the table. How do you turn that round for the last 5 games?
Well, if you can tell me, that'd be lovely. If somebody could tell you that, they'd be burned as a witch in the olden days, wouldn't they? We're all sort of guessing. How I do it is that I try and make the right decisions for the right reasons. That's your team selection, it's your tactics, it's your work on the training ground. It's all the things so that when I, at 5-3, allow them to run onto the pitch to start a game, I know that we've covered everything we needed to cover. That's important. Sometimes on occasions it's sort of almost information overload, and you see a lad thinking, what have I got to do it? I'm trying to get them to relax at this moment in time. All that now will come to you. It's a little bit like when you first start driving, you have to think of everything, don't you? In my driving test, I remember in the old days, you used to have to put your hand out the window and signal to turn right. And I was so nervous, I forgot to open the window. But anyway, so the reason why I'm saying that is because you can have information overload, but in time, when it becomes normal and natural, you can eat a sandwich. Don't tell the police this, I suppose, but you can eat a sandwich, you can drink a cup of tea, and still drive, and not have to think of everything. And that's what we've tried to put into them, that at the moment, they can naturally make decisions now, because like at school with the maths tables and that, we all know the tables because it's repetition, and that's the same as football. And I'm hoping that that's all in their heads. I'm going to try and help them relax. Supporters will help them relax, like they're doing, by keeping behind them. And I think the first goal is going to be pretty important on Friday.
Yeah, you mentioned as well 2, maybe 3 teams in this title race still. I suppose Grimsby, they'll be desperate to make sure that 3 are still involved. In some ways, the pressure's more on them, isn't it, this Friday?
It depends on what their mindset is. They've got a lot of games. They've got a lot of difficult. They've still got some difficult games, obviously. But pride will be at stake here as well. Paul will want to be seen to be beating not Forest Green and beating Cheltenham, and because he's trying to, he'll keep his team going, whatever happens. And for him, I know the way he is, every game will be a cup final for him anyway. So that's a good game. You want competitive games, you want good games, you don't want nothing games. I love these games at the end of the season, and as I said before, you hang on in there. You got to do all your homework on the opposition. You got to be ready yourselves, and then what else can you do? 3 o'clock bosh, let's see how it goes, and mostly we've been getting decent results and decent performances.
And particularly at home of late, I mean, the goals have really been coming very freely.
Yeah, they have. I think with all due respect to the other two teams, I don't think they're as strong as Grimsby. I think there's probably, in my opinion, 5 or 6 teams, maybe 6 or 7 teams that are in this league that could comfortably cope with the second division in the Football League. So, and this is obviously one of them. So I class these types of games as the type of games you're going to get if you get promoted. So it gives me a good chance to see our lads playing against the team, the level of team that we're going to come up against if we get promoted.
And actually, if you're looking at in that sort of forward-thinking way, does that take some of the pressure off, if you like?
I don't know. That's how I'm thinking, because the boys have got to be trying to earn another contract here. I think most of them want to stay here. This is the point of the season where you're hoping to get to, where you've got players that are out of contract that want to be here, and they're all hopefully trying to impress, because they all want to get promoted so that they can be playing for this club in the Football League, and a lot of them haven't played in the Football League yet. And I've given this club and myself has given them this opportunity, and hopefully they'll take it.
Obviously, that's a carrot you can sort of dangle in front of them. But is anything happening behind the scenes, or are all contract talks for next season sort of parked until anything's clinched for certain?
Do you know what? Not one of them has come to me to ask, because they know what the brief is. We've said it before. We've got to win the league, and we can't think about anything else. I can't be negotiating with people now. I can't have that in, and they can't have it in their heads either. Because if they've got in their heads, talk to my agent, and the agent says, I've got 7 other clubs interested in you, because that's what they do, and they haven't. And it could disrupt the mentality and the thinking of that player. It could disrupt the thinking of me. If I feel that he's not with us, I won't play him. All that sort of stuff. So there's a lot of scenarios when you start thinking about contracts, and so the boys have been clever enough to steer clear of me and the agents, funny enough. So they've obviously briefed their agents, because we've got one thing to do, and that is win the championship.
And if you do that, their negotiating power goes up anyway, as does your ability to pay them. How's Asa?
Asa's, we're waiting to see till the last minute with Asa, but he obviously came off with a slight groin strain. But I don't think he'll be long if he's out at all. But at the moment, we're just waiting to see whether the next couple of days he recovers.
Thank you, good luck.
No problem. Thank you.
People like Billy Waters and Jack Munn's banging on your door saying, get me back in the squad.
Yeah, and I'm banging on their door telling them they'll be back in the squad soon, because I do want to keep them involved. And you'll see if I've kept them involved when we play, when I announce the team and the subs on tomorrow night. So, it's an interesting one, because they've been really professional in their attitude towards not being in the team. They let you know that they want to be in the team, and they always have a little frown when I pick the team, and I have a look at some of their faces. Bless them. And I know that when needed and when selected, they'll be ready.
The last home game, you made a big thing of your playlist of your music and getting every player motivated in their own way. I take it that's going to continue for this game. How important is that sort of psychology of this is our place, this is our home, this is our music?
Well, it's massive, because all music motivation is used in all forms of life, all forms of sport, definitely, whether it be Rocky and boxing and all that sort of thing. And all my teams have always had that sort of motivation, and some it doesn't really help, it's just background music, but some it really does help. But we don't only do the music, we do the motivation in the psychology of things, which you've picked up on a couple of things today. We do video motivation of their own goals, not
Own goals.
Own goals, yeah. You know, and good bits of play from us and to music, and that always gives you a little buzz as well. You know, it's a good form of. Everybody does it. It's not just me that does it, but it's how you present it and how you put it into them and the environment that you create. If you want to get people motivated, this is the big saying. If you want to get people motivated, then get players that can be motivated, and this lot can be. And that's why it's important, and that's why we ask the supporters to keep behind them, and you know, they're giving them a good season and vice versa. So let's just keep this going now, and if it was a cup final, which every game now is really, then we need to make that sort of cup final atmosphere. And that's exactly what we got to do, so it's a good question.
Yeah, Elliot Richards obviously left last week. I believe he's going to fly off to the States and join Tampa in the. What was the decision behind releasing him? Was it his decision, your decision, or a bit of both?
Yeah, it was a bit of both, because the stage we were at, he wasn't at the stage, or couldn't get to the stage where he was competing for a place in the 18-man squad, 16-man squad, but you know, we've got 18 at the moment. He was very enthusiastic at the start, fantastic. We was all really happy for him that his illness had cleared up, but he couldn't quite get himself that fitness, and then it was a chicken and egg, because he couldn't play and he got injured a couple of times when he went on loan and couldn't, you know, play 2, 3, 4 games on the trot, and he'd have needed to have played 10. He just couldn't get that. So we couldn't, you know, we spoke to him a lot, and he trained, and eventually we felt that, and I think he knew that he wasn't going to, you know, break into our group, because he was having to work very, very hard, but still not quite be fit enough. Now he will be eventually, and he probably needs a good pre-season. But he needs games, and he's got to go and get games wherever he can get them, and if that's halfway around the world, then, you know, good luck to him. I think it was a friend of his. Did he know the manager there? Yeah, that's right. There, yeah. So, you know, if he goes over there and does well, then he can come back pre-season to wherever he, you know, wants to go to, and try and get games somewhere. But his sort of time was up here, even though we.
Just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah, it is a victim. Yeah, exactly. But you know, to be in the squad and to earn your place in the squad, you got to be ready, and he wasn't quite getting to that level.
Excellent. Cheers.